Ladies and gentlemen, now time for the playing of the national anthem. If you are a service member or veteran indoors, we ask that you stand and come to the position of attention. If you are outdoors, please render a hand salute. If you are a civilian, please place your right hand over your heart. After the anthem is played, please remain standing for the playing of the Air Force song. Please be seated. On behalf of Air Force ROTC Detachment 645 Cadre, I would like to thank everyone for being here today. We would especially like to welcome the families and friends of our cadets who are in attendance and recognize those that are serving or have served in the United States military. We thank you all for your service and we thank you for joining us today. Let me start by introducing the cadre of Air Force ROTC Detachment 645, Lieutenant Colonel Bo Cunningham, Mr. Robert Gooden, Lieutenant Luke Thomas, Master Sergeant Stephen Ramirez, Staff Sergeant Aaron Duthoy, Colonel Kevin Cullen, United States Air Force retired, and Major Hunter Barnhill, United States Air Force retired. I am Major Arun Chatur, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. The commissioning ceremony represents the first step into a corps of professionals. The young men and women being commissioned today are about to enter an extremely demanding and entirely new way of life, one of special trust and confidence. This status is derived from the Constitution of the United States and entrusts the new officer with the health, welfare, training, and lives of the service members under their command. The Presidential Commission is not a short-term commitment, but rather a lifetime oath of dedication and service to one's country, family, and fellow officers and service members.
We stood in lines and raised our right hands. And then all of a sudden, we weren't kids anymore. It's not that we grew up. We just knew we had to be different now. When they say repeat after me and you state your name, it sounds like a mess. A bunch of voices saying their names at the same time, all proud of who they are. By the end of the oath, you're one voice, all proud of what you share. The oath is our bond that brings all airmen together. solemnly swore that we would support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Maybe a lot of us had never even read the Constitution, but that piece of paper we swore to defend spelled out everything America was capable of. The greatness that was yet to come. Freedoms, rights, powers, duties, responsibilities. That's what we were defending. And now, you've taken that oath. You swore to do what was required of you. What is required will be more than you thought you had. You will be given boundaries and borders, but you will also be shown horizons. Your duty is to achieve the impossible. Your orders are to conquer fears. Do things we couldn't dream of. Your orders are not to live up to some romantic idea of what we were, or to drag our memory with you like a weight. Your orders are to let us carry you to places we couldn't find. Your duty is to your country. Your duty is to be an airman. The oath is not a limitation. It's a starting gun. You have not sworn to do what so many brave men and women have done before. You've sworn to do what no one has done before. Do not repeat after us. Do better. Aim high, airmen.
Of whom much is given, much will be expected. It is also a time for family and friends to be proud of their achievements, and for the newly commissioned officers to exude pride for accomplishing this difficult yet worthwhile goal. When a cadet commissions, it is traditional for them to render their first salute to someone special. As part of this tradition, the first salute is not merely a physical exercise, nor is it merely a greeting. The first salute marks the first time that a member in the armed forces recognizes the authority bestowed by the President of the United States upon the new lieutenant. It is also a challenge to that lieutenant. The first salute is a reminder to the lieutenant that he or she owes all airmen the steady leadership, care, and compassion that they deserve. It reminds all lieutenants that their leadership has not yet been ratified in the hearts of their airmen, and that they have a challenge ahead of them. This is signified by an exchange of a silver dollar from the lieutenant to the enlisted member after the salute is rendered. Next, please welcome the Commander, Air Force ROTC Detachment 645, Lieutenant Colonel Cunningham, for a few remarks.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our first ever virtual Ohio State University Air Force ROTC Detachment 645 commissioning event. Over the course of the next 6 hours, we will be commissioning 18 outstanding young men and women as second lieutenants into the United States Air Force. In past years, this event would be held in the Ohio Stadium recruiting room and be limited to those family and friends that could make the journey to campus. However, in response to COVID-19, we have had to move our event into a virtual environment. This has a bright side. We have now opened the door to many more family and friends that otherwise would not be able to attend in person. Our hope today is to provide a personalized and memorable event for each of our cadets commissioning today. We will stick to the core fundamentals, the oath of office, a personalized pinning of the gold bars, a silver dollar salute, and each cadet will have the opportunity to say a few words. Before we move on, I would also like to take a moment to thank everyone that has contributed to this event. First, I would like to thank the cadre that have spent countless hours working to develop and mentor the next generation of Air Force leaders. Major Arun Chatur, Major Hunter Barnhill, Captain Jamie Ellis, Lieutenant Luke Thomas, Mr. Robert Gooden, Master Sergeant Stephen Ramirez, and Staff Sergeant Aaron DeThoy. Thank you. Next, each of our cadets has been given the opportunity to have the oath of office given to them by a commissioned officer that has impacted them in a positive way. I would like to thank each officer that is giving the oath of office today. Former Det 645 Commander, Air Force Colonel retired, Kevin E. Cullen. former Det 645 Commander, Air Force Colonel retired, Tammy Canera. Air Force Colonel retired, Jeff A. Hansen. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Floyd R. Annabelle. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Jason C. Braun. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Todd W. Anderson. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel James R. Hampshire. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Jason Metzger. Air Force Major Hunter Barnhill. Air Force Major Arun Shatur. Air Force Major Brian Cucci. Air Force Captain Michaela Eisman. Army First Lieutenant Joseph Conroy. Air Force Second Lieutenant Nathan Herman. Air Force Second Lieutenant Charles Keller. Air Force Second Lieutenant Patya Renthara. Thank you for your time on this important day. I would also like to individually recognize those enlisted members that will be offering our newly commissioned officers their first salute. Air Force Staff Sergeant Aaron DeThoy. Marine Corps Corporal Kyle Birdsong. U.S. Military Academy Cadet Benjamin Radcliffe. Air Force Staff Sergeant Sean Yettermullen. Air Force Airman First Class Josh Harper. And finally, I would like to thank our parents for the support and energy you have provided your sons and daughters while they balance their studies, extracurriculars, and Air Force ROTC. To our graduated cadets, you are now moments away from taking your oath of office, the moment you've been working so hard for. You have tallied up 240 plus PT sessions, 120 plus leadership labs, 180 sessions of air science classes, resulting in approximately 360 5 a.m. wake-ups in your time at Ohio State. Be proud of your accomplishments while at Ohio State. You have received a degree from a world-class university, and you are now joining the world's greatest Air Force. As you take your oath today, remember, the commissioning oath is an individual commitment made freely, publicly, and without mental reservation to support and defend the compact that forms the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and echoing the commission to well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter. To the Air Force ROTC class of 2020, good luck and Godspeed. I would now like to take a moment to publicly recognize the 2020 distinguished graduates of Det 645. Cadet Nicholas Kapp, Cadet Peyton Hansen. Congratulations. Major Shatur, back to you to finish the opening ceremony.
Thank you, Colonel Cunningham. Now the graduating cadets would like to recognize Colonel Cullen for his 28 years of service to our country and leadership as former commander of Air Force ROTC Detachment 645. Representing the class of 2020 will be Cadets Catherine Bennett and Peyton Hansen.
Thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have the great honor of speaking about our detachment commander of the past 3 years, Colonel Kevin Cullen. He will be retiring this month after an amazing 28 years of service. The last 3 years of his service were spent here at The Ohio State's Detachment 645. I've had the honor of being a cadet for his tenure at Ohio State, so I know I speak on behalf of every cadet that has passed through the halls of commerce when I say thank you for your service, sir. Colonel Cullen has led by example throughout his time at Ohio State, starting with his very first Detachment 645 PT when he worked out with cadets throughout the entirety of the workout, and ending when he took time to talk to a large array of cadets during the PT he did not know would be his last. Colonel Cullen has shown us how to live by the Air Force core values we hold so close to our hearts, and has shown us that it is never wrong to do the right thing, even when it's hard to do at the time. Colonel Cullen has treated every cadet and cadre member he has met with dignity and respect, and has inspired each and every one of us to push beyond our known limits and shoot for excellence. Colonel Cullen has created a culture of integrity, respect, and innovation that I know will last a long time after his command. On behalf of every cadet, past and present, thank you, Colonel Cullen, for your service to the detachment and your service to our country. You have left a lasting impact at Ohio State that has paved the way for a bright future. We know you graduated from the Air Force Academy, but once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. Colonel Cullen, thank you again for your extraordinary years of service, and we wish you well in all of your future endeavors. I would now like to pass it over to Katie Bennett.
Thank you, Cadet Hansen. Before we actually present this gift, I would like to give a little explanation for the meaning behind it. In ROTC, there's a very specific way that cadets are approved to become second lieutenants. That process is called getting scrolled. And what that is the names of all of the graduating seniors are put on a list, and that list is sent up the chain of command. Once the Secretary of the Air Force signs off on the list, we have approval to become second lieutenants. So Colonel Cullen, on behalf of the cadets and cadre here at Detachment 645, we would like to present you with a scroll that contains the names of each of the cadets who have commissioned under your leadership here in the last 3 years. Thank you very much for the sacrifices and service that you have given to our country, and your leadership and dedication that you have given here at Detachment 6.
Thank you, Cadet Bennett and Cadet Hansen. The commissioning ceremony this afternoon will proceed in the order shown on the last screen. The oath of office will be given by an officer of the commissionee's choosing. The lieutenant gold bars will then be pinned on their uniform, followed by the traditional first salute. Based on the virtual aspect of today's ceremonies and the fact that the new officer is required to sign their official document in front of their commissioning official, we will then watch the commissionee formally sign their official documents. Finally, the new lieutenant will have an opportunity to say a few words. Now, if you would, please stand once more and join us as Ohio State's newest alumni lead us in singing Carmen, Ohio, one last time together. Ladies and gentlemen, this Zoom feed will be live all day through the afternoon until the end of our ceremonies. We invite you to join in the other ceremonies whose schedules are listed right in front of you on this last screen. As you're entering each ceremony, please be respectful and ensure to mute all microphones and turn off video feeds so as not to disrupt ceremonies in progress. At this time, we will take a short break. and we will be back to commission Cadet Ira Bernal at 1 o'clock. Thank you for joining us again.